Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Experimental science fiction drama. Futuristic that really will make you wonder. CBS Radio Workshop. Going back to February 17th, 1957, the first part of a two-part program, The Space Merchants, the science fiction classic of the future in the grip of Madison Avenue.
The CBS Radio Workshop, dedicated to man's imagination, the theater of the mind. Today, The Space Merchants, Frederick Pohl's and C.M. Kornbluth's modern classic about the future when the wizards of high-pressure salesmanship take over. It's the story of Mitchell Courtney, a copysmith, star class with Fowler Schock and Associates, the biggest and greatest advertising firm of the future, and a tale of a rocket ride to Venus.
As I rubbed depilatory soap on my face and waited for my beard to melt away, I switched on the news over the bathroom mirror. A funny little man whom I finally recognized as the president had given another speech last night. There was a shot of the Venus rocket, squat and silvery on the Arizona sands. A report of rioting in Panama, the Concy Underground, probably. Then the phone rang. Hello.
Chief, you're due at the office.
Can't you see I'm dressing?
Oof, why that tie?
Never mind. Why are you phoning me?
Mr. Shawkins called a board meeting a half an hour early. He's going to name the head of the Venus project today, so hurry.
Hester, do me a favor. Will you call my wife, Dr. Nevin? Make an appointment at noon for Walter J. Silver.
For who?
Walter J. Silver.
Are you crazy?
Well, she won't talk to me, Hester. Use the fake name. Maybe I can get in.
All right, now get down here fast.
Down on Fifth Avenue, there wasn't a pedicab in sight. For a moment, I thought I had a Cadillac with two men pedaling it, but somebody else got it. I did the best I could. I hopped aboard the rolling northbound sidewalk and found myself hemmed in by a milling, perspiring group of consumers. I got off at Schocken Towers and rode the express elevator to our offices on the 182nd floor. By sheer luck, I'd just taken my seat with my fellow board members when Fowler Schocken walked in.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Schocken.
Now, sit down. I'm going to stand for a moment. I've just come back on the moon rocket, as you know. Want to stretch my legs.
How is our project on the moon, Mr. Schocken?
Gentlemen, I'm proud, and I'm humble when I say it's successful. The mining ventures are bringing the people here on Earth many of the metals our forefathers exhausted long ago. The colonists seem quite untouched by the Concy revolutionists. Only 6 instances of Concy sabotage in the past week. Thank you. Now I'd like to hear some reports on our other projects. Industrial anthropology.
Well, I wish to report that according to the midnight indices, all primary schools east of the Mississippi are being fed our Fowler Schocken packaged school lunches, soy burger, and regenerated steak. Now, these lunches are being packaged in our Stars Alias Red, which means that in the future, these young consumers will be completely conditioned to buying everything packaged in our special color, Stars Alias Red. They'll have no choice.
Magnificent. Now, let's hear from point of sale.
Well, Mr. Schocken, sir,
We have tested our latest beverage, Coffeeist, in 15 key cities. Each sample of Coffeeist contains 3 milligrams of a simple alkaloid. Nothing harmful, but definitely habit-forming. After 10 weeks, the customer is hooked for life. A cure will cost $1,000, so it's easier to buy more Coffeeist. 3 cups with every meal and a hot jug beside the bed at night.
Gentlemen, on my trip back from the moon, I began to wonder, are we getting soft?
No, sir, Mr. Shockin.
Thank you, Matt. But I wonder, were we doing enough for our consumers? Those consumers sleeping out there on the stairways. I know how lucky they are being able to buy the wonderful goods we make, package and sell them. Seaweed suits, soya burger, regenerated steak, Coffeeist, straw-butt cigarettes. But I still wondered, were we in the upper classes of advertising getting soft? But now I've decided Fowler, Schock & Associates is not soft, that it's ready to meet a challenge greater than our organizing India into one giant cartel, greater than our development of the moon, the greatest challenge the world of advertising and promotion has ever met, the colonizing of Venus.
Shockin's sense of the dramatic was never better. A touch of a button on the conference table before him, the lights were dimmed. Another touch of a button, and one wall of the room became a giant projection screen. We are looking at it again. The Venus rocket. But this time we knew that one of us would be named to head the Venus project.
There she stands, gentlemen. The Venus rocket, a 1,000-foot monster, surrounded now by steel scaffolding and aglow with welding torches. And here's how you'll see her 6 months from now, just before the takeoff. Just before the takeoff. There's the ship that Congress gave us, Fowler, Schock & Associates. There's the ship that will span the stars. 6.5 million tons of trapped lightning and steel. A rocket-powered Mayflower for 1,800 pioneers seeking a new world to settle. Who will man it? Gentlemen, it's our job, A, to justify my buying enough congressmen to vote us that rocket. B, to sell 1,800 crazy consumers on giving up life on the Earth for the sulfur and nitrogen and canned life on Venus.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shockin. Yes, sir.
I've made my choice of the man to head up our Venus rocket project. His name is Mitchell Courtney.
Congratulations, Mitch.
Thanks, Matt.
Terrific break for a young and experienced guy.
Yes, I'm flattered.
Fowler seemed to be sure he knew what he was doing.
You seem to be sure.
Well, drop into my office anytime you need advice.
Yeah, thanks. I'll keep my back to the wall.
Good luck with the Venus project, Mitch. As far as I'm concerned, you can't sell people on life in a sardine can, even if you throw in a slave girl as a premium.
This way, Mr. Silver. Dr. Nevins will see you now.
Dr. Nevins?
Mitch, how did you get in?
I used another name. I had to see you, Kathy. After all, you're my wife.
I am not your wife.
My certificate's on file.
Mine isn't. It never will be. As soon as this year is up, we're through.
Now, wait. I've got some news.
Well, what is it?
I've been put in charge of the Venus project at the agency.
Congratulations.
Oh, Kathy, I love you. I'm not above using this promotion as an excuse to celebrate. Won't you go out on the town with me tonight?
No.
Well, I promise not to make a scene. You're the only one I want to celebrate with.
All right, Mitch. My apartment at 7. And now let me take care of the sick people.
But who are the really sick people, February 17th, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop, Space Merchants, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go back to February 17th, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop presentation of Space Merchants.
Outside Kathy's office, I hailed a two-man Cadillac pedicab and told them to step on it to Shockin' Towers. I took the express elevator to the top of the towers. I ran across the heliport to Shockin's private helicopter. I had a very important date out of New York's newest airport, at Montauk. I was due to meet the Earth's #1 celebrity, Jack O'Shea, the first and only man who had ever set a rocket down on Venus and returned. As I landed, his jet was just coming in. And as I jumped to the ground, his jet moved up the runway toward me, and the place was crawling with women. I'd forgotten what a swath Jack had cut with the women on his cross-country lecture tours. In fact, I'd almost forgotten until his Pinkerton cards cleared away through the vast crowds. I'd almost forgotten that Jack was a midget. Welcome to New York, Jack.
Hello, Mitch. I hear you're #1 boy now.
Well, I still work for Fowler Shockin', Jack, but the Venus rocket project is mine.
You're a fool to take it.
Oh, you're joking.
Am I? All right, fellas, Mr. Courtney's from Fowler's Shockin'. You can check off now.
Yes, sir, Mr. O'Shea.
Crummy guards. I never get a free moment.
Well, that's the penalty for being a celebrity. This way, Jack. Our helicopter's over here.
Hey, look out, Mitch. That cargo ship.
Darn fool pilots.
Run, Mitch, run! Hey, Mitch, you all right?
Yes, I'm okay. Thanks a lot.
Mitch, that was no accident. That pilot had orders to get one of us, and I think it was you.
I had to start pumping Jack O'Shea about Venus. Shockin' was paying him a fat retaining fee as a consultant. Jack didn't seem to want to talk, however. I showed him projections, maps, drawings, charts. But he barely said a word worth recording on tape. Suddenly an idea hit me. I made a phone call.
Oh, Kathy, do you know that this is the first time I've really laughed, since I came back to Earth?
Is it, Jack? I'm complimented.
And that this is the first time I've been alone with two people since I came back?
I thought you'd had enough of being alone in that rocket on Venus.
It must have been a shattering experience, Jack.
Kathy, you're the first person who seems to have understood that. Not exciting. Not thrilling. It was frightening. Shattering, as you said. It wasn't at all like what I've told the women's clubs, the reporters. That's been a pack of lies. The atmosphere, for instance. It's really formaldehyde. Embalming fluid. Who'd understand that, except the dead? And the heat, who'd understand that? Who's lived in heat above the boiling point of water? If there was any water on Venus, which there isn't.
Why did you go, Jack?
That's easy. You're a doctor. You know about midgets. We eat 1/3 the food, drink 1/3 the liquids, inhale and exhale 1/3 the air full-sized humans require. They'd never have gotten that test rocket to Venus if I hadn't been the size I am, if I hadn't been a child who's been laughed at, who'd turned test pilot to prove myself. I was so small they could pack me into that test rocket with all the equipment necessary to sustain me. 83 days. It takes a lot of equipment to sustain even a midget.
6 of those days were on Venus. What was it like, Jack?
I think the closest thing on Earth is the painted desert. The wind blows hard. It tears rocks apart. Soft rocks disappear and make dust storms. The light is funny. Nobody ever saw a light like that on Earth. Orangey, brownish light. Very, very bright, but threatening. And there's no water on Venus. No vegetation. No living thing.
In the quiet of Kathy's apartment, Jack O'Shea talked for another hour. Then suddenly, with hardly a word of goodbye, he stood up and walked out. Thanks, Kathy. Thanks for changing plans and letting me bring him.
Don't mention it, Mitch. Do you think you got it all on your little tape recorder?
You knew I had one in my pocket.
I was sure you would have. And I hope you play it back to yourself over and over and over.
Kathy.
Yes, over and over and over. Until even you were convinced how hopeless your Venus project is.
Hopeless? Oh, our science boys have answers to all those objections.
Mitch, doesn't that mind of yours ever stop selling somebody something? Do you have to be a contriving, selfish Machiavelli who serves Fowler, Schocken, and never people?
People? You mean consumers?
Oh, Mitch, must you always be top dog, making money without scruples, without ethics? What was that?
A gunshot.
Jack's out there.
Well, I'll go and see. Oh, he's all right. Those are his steps.
Mitch, I was standing talking with the doorman and someone shot him in cold blood. Someone thought that doorman was you.
Well, Mitch, trouble with the Venus project already?
Personal trouble, Mr. Schocken.
Personal trouble?
Yes. Yesterday afternoon, a cargo helicopter tried to drop its full load on me, and last night somebody tried to shoot me. I've had a couple of head-on collisions with Matt Runstead.
Are you accusing a Schocken man? That's treason. Killing an agency employee is an offense against the United States government. Any idea who's behind this?
No. Well, it might be the Consies, of course.
Well, conservationists hate us. They try to sabotage everything we want to do, but they're crazy, mixed up, unorganized. They want to go back to the old days when we had natural wood, natural water, all that sort of claptrap. Forget them.
Well, it could be another advertising agency.
It could be. But look, Mitch, I made you copysmith, star class, because I thought you could live up to your responsibilities. Now, you're young, but you have power. 5 words from you, and a few months later, 500 million consumers will find their lives completely changed. That's power. Absolute power. So you must remember, power has its compensation and its hazards. That's all.
With this encouragement, I continued work on the Venus project for the next 6 weeks. I even talked Kathy into giving up her patients for 48 hours and taking a flying trip with me to Arizona. I wanted to get the feel of the giant rocket itself as it was being built.
Your credentials, please. Army Intelligence, check. Navy Intelligence, check. Air Force Intelligence, check. FBI, check. AEC, check. CIA, check. 4A's, check. I hope you two are all right. This way, please.
Kathy and I followed the security officer into the vast steel shell of the Venus rocket.
1,257 feet high. More cubage than the average New York apartment building.
He took us into the dormitories for the 1,800 pilgrims I had to sell on the idea of going to Venus.
Closed cycle food, water, and air regeneration. 1/3 living space, 1/3 drive, 1/3 freight.
It was an inferno and a promise of paradise. A monument to 22nd century engineering and an incomparable monument to the sheer artistry of the machine.
So many names a lot of people aren't familiar with to this day. in this episode of the CBS Radio Workshop. But, of course, Leon Janney, Joseph Julian, Virginia Kay, Ian Martin, also Ralph Bell, Bob Reddig, Robert Dryden, and Stotts Cotworth, whom you hear about in the episodes of Casey Crime Photographer, a very good radio actor. Space Merchants, February 17th, 1957. Thanks for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. The conclusion of this first part follows these important messages. Classic Radio Theater family, you know our friend Mike Lindell has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of your life. He didn't stop by just creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets ever. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep for me because, you know, I'm working like 67 hours a day. Now, Mike's offering the best deal on his Giza Dreams bed sheets ever. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. You'll never want to sleep on anything else once you slept on a set of Giza Dream sheets. A special offer for you right now. You can get a set of Giza sheets for as low as $29.98. Call 1-800-928-4715. Use the promo code Wyatt. Or go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Wyatt. It's good on anything on the website. That number again, 1-800-928-4715. Use my promo code Wyatt. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the conclusion of the CBS Radio Workshop, The Space Merchants, February 17th, 1957.
Mitch, do you always have to talk like a copysmith?
Huh? Oh, well, I noticed you were impressed too, Kathy.
Well, it draws me and repels me. I can't explain it.
It excites me. Kathy, how'd you like to go on to San Diego with me?
Whatever for?
Well, Matt Runstead's boys in our San Diego office have been gathering test figures on our sample colonizing campaigns. Very helpful.
No, I can't come, Mitch. I'd love to, but my patients back in New York need me.
Oh. Well, then I'll get you aboard the return jet and see you in New York in 48 hours. I didn't tell them I was coming to San Diego. I walked in on our entire San Diego staff playing push-button poker. What's the meaning of this?
Oh, who are you, mister?
Mitchell Courtney.
Oh, it's Courtney from New York, fellas.
What are the reports on the Venus sampling, Harris?
There aren't any, sir.
Tally sheets, punch card codes, Sigma progress charts? Nothing on the attitudes of consumers toward life on Venus?
Well, nothing, sir. Nothing.
You've made up everything you've given me so far.
Well, I'm afraid so, sir.
Well, get New York on the line. I want Matt Runstead.
Well, he's not there.
Well, where is he?
Well, he called this morning. He's taken off for Little America to look after our interests there.
And left you holding the bag, huh? Find out when the next jet leaves for Little America. Little America is a dollar trap for the tourists of the world, conceived and promoted by Fowler Shocking. A clerk at our hotel told me Runstead had checked in for a 2-day tour of the Stars Alias Glacier. He already had started out on the trail. I rented the glacier equipment, Antarctic coveralls, hood, gloves, boots, and power pack to warm them. And on my back, I had an EDF that went beep, beep when I was on the trail, and beep, beep when I lost my way in the snow. I set out after Runstead, beeping and still mad. I stopped after a while and cooked a meal in my electric pocket. It wasn't bad. Well, very bad. I had some coffeeists to pep me up, and then I set out again. My feet hit a drift, and I stumbled. The wind was blowing stronger now. The snow flurries were more frequent. I must have gone on another hour. How far in distance, I don't know. And then up ahead, I saw the figure of a man. Matt! Matt Runstead!
Mitch Courtney!
Matt, I've been following you.
Me? What do you want with me, Mitch?
I want to know what happened in the San Diego office. What are you up to, Matt? A sudden blast of wind hurled snow into my face, and then, as it cleared, I saw Matt raising his skis high above his head. I saw them coming down toward me as he poleaxed me.
The CBS Radio Workshop has brought you Part 1 of The Space Merchants, adapted for radio by Charles Monroe, with original music composed and conducted by Samuel Matlofsky. Produced and directed in New York by Paul Roberts. Stotts Cotsworth starred as Mitch Courtney, Virginia Kay as Kathy. Others in today's cast were Bob Dryden, Ed Prentice, Mary Patton, Bob Reddick, Joe Julian, Ralph Bell, Ian Martin, and Joe Helgeson. The sound effects were devised by Tom Buchanan and Tom Perkins. The engineer, Jack Katz. This is Ted Pearson inviting you to join us next week for the second part of the CBS Radio Workshop production of The Space Merchants.
And you should hear that next week at this time here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, February 17th, 1957, the CBS Radio Workshop. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, the very surprising conclusion to the yours truly Johnny Dollar story, The Cui Bono Matter. This was originally broadcast February 17th, 1956.
From Hollywood, it's time now for Johnny Dollar.
Jim Peterson, Mr. Dollar.
Oh, hiya, Sheriff.
I understand you talked with Miss Parker this afternoon.
That's right, I did.
Well, what do you think now?
I think I'm going back to Hartford the first thing in the morning.
So, you finally decided the girl is innocent?
I don't know, Sheriff, and I probably never will know. I'm just finishing up my report now. I'll send you a copy of it.
Well, I'll be mighty interested in seeing it.
On the basis of my investigation, I'm sure the company will pay her claim without question whenever she's ready to file. I'm beat, hands down, and there's no use denying it.
Well, you can't win every time, Mr. Dollar.
It's not that, Sheriff. But this is the first time I've ever had to end a report with a question mark.
Tonight and every weekday night, Bob Bailey in the transcribed adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account, America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar. From Special Investigator Johnny Dollar, location Green Pass, Virginia, to the Home Office, Surety Mutual Insurance Limited, Hartford, Connecticut. Assignment, The Cui Bono Matter. Expense account, final page. Item 14, 50 cents. Notary fee on a 20-page report. A report that covered everything and told nothing. But it was the best I could do. I had no more leads, no new ideas. The bare facts of the case still stood. Dan Parker had returned unexpectedly from a trip, entered his darkened home late at night, and had been shot to death as a prowler by his daughter, Luann. Amount of insurance, $100,000. Beneficiary, Luann. I checked through a half a dozen theories and been forced to throw out every one of them. And the whole case finally came down to just one simple question. When Luann pulled that trigger and fired down the dark stairway, did she or did she not know that she was shooting at her father? I couldn't answer it. And I didn't believe anyone else would ever be able to. Except, of course, Luann herself. Item 15, $1 even. Transportation out to the Happy Hollow Roadhouse, where the steaks were good, the drinks were good, and a beaten-down guy could kill an evening.
Well, wrap me up and nail me south. Here's that dollar man again.
How's it going, Sammy?
Business gets any worse, I'll open an artery. You here for kicks tonight, or are you going to put the arm on me again?
Let joy reign unsuppressed.
That's the word, man. That's the word. Come on over. I'll let you buy me a drink. You're riding on a swindle sheet.
Or better yet, I'll let you buy me one. You own the joint.
Okay. Set us up, Joe. Make mine the usual fusel.
What'll you have, sir?
Scotch on the rocks.
You ever get through to that Parker chick?
Yeah, I talked to her this afternoon.
Well, what do you think, man? Was I right or was I right?
About what?
Is she a cool fool or not?
I don't know, Sammy. She's a tough one to figure.
She's just a tough one, period. Well, here's to the housekeeper's daughter.
Yep.
Whew. This stuff is murder. I don't know why the customers stand for it. So what comes next, Tex?
I'm going back to Hartford in the morning.
And little Cookie gets her payoff. 100 G's. Man, it's really going for broke.
If she is on the level, it's not enough to pay for the way she'll probably feel for the rest of her life.
Feel? That one? I'm telling you, man, I know that little fluff. She's got a heart about as big and warm as the olive in a martini.
You could be right.
I know I'm right. She's took you, man. She's took you good. Bang, bang, and the little lady wins a prize.
Maybe so.
A big, fat 100 G's. And bad old Papa in the cold, cold ground. She was really shooting for new shoes that night.
Well, if she was, she's got 'em, Sammy. There's nothing more I can do about it.
So that's life.
What is it?
You win a little, lose a little, and taxes take the rest. Why, Parker's got it made, man. Safe and cozy in his little box. No more worries.
Oh, sure. But we can't all be lucky. Sometimes it... Well. Brace yourself, Sammy. It looks like you're raided.
What? Oh, it's the sheriff. Right on time.
On time?
Relax, Max. He's just come to tell the tale and do the deal.
Protection?
Sure. Same setup I had with Parker. And the sheriff says he'll keep Bully Boy Bates in line. How about that, huh?
Well, life goes on, I guess.
Well, I wasn't expecting to run into you out here, Miss Dollar.
I don't imagine.
Finish your report?
Yep. Right down to the last comma, Sheriff. And the last question mark.
Oh, now, I don't reckon there's any question mark. You got to the truth, all right. Just wasn't what you'd expected, that's all.
Maybe so.
You got a minute, Sammy?
Sure thing, pal. Let's go back to the office. Stick around, Dollar. The joint will be jumping.
Fine.
I can hardly wait.
Let's have another one here, bartender.
Coming up.
Sir, would you do me the honor of having a little drink with me?
Well, thanks. I'm having one with you. I've already got it.
Well, so you have. Well, another little one never hurts, though.
Later, maybe. Thanks anyway.
Anytime, friend. What line you in?
The insurance record.
Well, that's all right, I guess. Oh, thank you, bartender. Thank you very much. I'm in ladies' ready-to-wear myself.
Must be fascinating.
A wholesale. I work out of Baltimore. Cover 3 whole states. Oh, I got a great little line of merchandise.
I really don't need any.
Oh, the heck with business. Let's live a little, shall we? Mr.
Dollar. Johnny Dollar.
Oh, yes. Well, here's looking at you, Dollar. You know, I always believe in living while I can. Because you never know.
Now, that's a very profound thought.
No, sir, you just never do. Because it can happen to anybody. Just like it did to a fella I met last week. Man right here in this town, too. A fella named Parker.
Parker?
That's right, he was a fine chap. I met him on the train coming out from Richmond. And I was on my way to Roanoke. Oh, we were laughing and we were joking and everything. And that very night he got killed. And I read about it in the paper. So you just don't never know.
Hey, look, tell me something. Are you the man who got off the train with him, talked with him on the platform while the train was standing in the station?
That's right. He wanted me to meet his daughter. And that's all he talked about was his daughter. Oh, he was crazy about that kid.
Well, did he expect her to be there at the station?
Yes, but she wasn't. I guess he got the wires crossed. He tried to phone her, but he didn't have any luck. So I get back on the train. He walks off down the road, and a half hour later, he's dead. I'm telling you, you just never know.
On the train, on the way down, what did he say about his daughter?
Oh, you know, the way a guy talks about his kid. He worshipped her. Yes, he did. That's all. He was telling how they were always kidding each other, and they were... Oh, say, here, take a look at this tie I'm wearing.
Yeah, sure, it's a nice tie.
Sure, it's a nice tie. That's what anybody would think, just to look at it. Yeah, it's a nice... Come on. I want to show you something about this tie.
Well, can't you show me without going
No, you got to go outside, so come on. Mr. Parker gave me this tie. He was wearing one on the train, and I liked it, so he gave me one. He said he had 3 of them. His daughter gave them to him the week before. He got them from some novelty house. So come on.
Well, look, what is it you want to show me about it?
Oh, come on. We got to go down there at the corner of the building. Oh, boy, this will knock you out. No, I'm telling you, it's just real crazy.
Yeah, it must be.
Parker never would have given it to me, except he had 3 of them. He figured he could never wear them all, so...
Well, come on, let's see the trick.
All right. Look, it's just a nice necktie, isn't it? That's all. Yeah, that's nothing out of the ordinary. Now, come on around the corner here out of the light. Oh, boy, this is going to fracture you. Now, look.
Well, I'll be... Good Lord.
How about that, eh? Is it crazy? That daughter of Parker's really must be something, huh?
Yeah, she is.
Can you imagine a kid thinking up an idea like that? Can you? Giving her dad a necktie that glows in the dark.
Good evening, Miss Parker.
Why, Mr. Dollar, what are you doing out here this time of night?
Mind if I come in?
Please do.
Thanks. Oh, I brought your gun back. The sheriff was finished with it.
I never want to see it again.
I know how you feel. I'll put it here on the table. You'd better not leave it there, though. It's loaded.
I wish Sheriff Peterson had kept it.
Oh, it may come in handy sometime. Again.
Mr. Dollar.
I was planning to leave town in the morning, Miss Parker. I'd already made out my report and given you a clean bill of health.
Well, I didn't even realize I was under suspicion. What was I supposed to have done, Mr. Dollar?
Deliberately murdered your father in order to collect $100,000 in life insurance.
You've got a pretty horrible mind, haven't you?
Maybe, but I wouldn't trade it for yours. Haven't you noticed my necktie, Miss Parker? I thought you'd tag it the first thing.
Why should I?
Because it belonged to your father. A special gift from his loving daughter. He gave it to a man he met on the train, and I bought it for $10 this evening. So now you know what happened to the third tie. That's probably been bothering you. Because I imagine you carefully destroyed the other 2.
I think you're a little more than slightly insane.
Oh, it was a neat plan. Simple and sweet. You got the idea a month ago when the sheriff caught a prowler over on the south side of town. And suddenly you began to hear prowlers at night. You bought your father a set of ties that glow in the dark. And then you waited. And when he came back from that trip, you got your chance.
You've got quite an imagination.
Oh, it was a great setup. A dark house and him wearing a tie that glowed in the dark, just like this one, Miss Parker. It was a perfect target. You couldn't miss. It's almost a shame that you were beaten by one unforeseen accident. Your father talked to a stranger and gave him a tie. And that tie is going to hang you.
No, I don't think so, Mr. Dollar.
Turn on those lights.
You were right, you know. It is a perfect target. You were very clever, Mr. Dollar, but not quite clever enough, or you'd have known. Sheriff.
Yeah, I've been standing out there on the terrace.
You...
No, Luann. You better give me the gun. No use pointing it, honey. It's loaded with blanks. You all right, Miss Dollar?
Yeah, I'm all right, Sheriff. A little sick, that's all. That anybody so beautiful could be so rotten.
You faked it. You tricked up the whole thing just to frame me, you filth. You dirty evil.
That's enough, Luann. That's enough. Nobody tricked you except yourself. That's hard for me to believe. Dan and me used to take you fishing with us when you wasn't no higher than that. You was the prettiest little thing I think I'd ever seen.
Oh, shut up, you old fool.
Now I got to take you someplace again. Wish I hadn't ever lived to see this day. And I'm mighty glad that Dan ain't here to see it. Come on, honey. We better get started.
Expense account item 16, $148.30. Hotel and incidentals in Green Pass and transportation back to Hartford. Expense account total, $382.65. End of account, end of report. Remarks. When you gave me this assignment, Don, you asked a question, a phrase in Latin. Cui bono? Who benefits? So here's your answer. Nobody. Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Remember, there'll be another intriguing story for you beginning next Monday night.
Next week, a study in entomology. You know, bugs. And this one's the deadly variety. a firebug. Join us, won't you? Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar, starring Bob Bailey, is transcribed in Hollywood. Written by Les Crutchfield, it is produced and directed by Jack Johnstone. Heard in this week's cast were D.J. Thompson, Mary Jane Croft, Forrest Lewis, Byron Kane, Russell Thorson, Sam Edwards, Dal McKennon, and Howard McNear. Musical supervision by Amerigo Marino. Be sure to join us on Monday night, same time and station, for another exciting story of yours truly, Johnny Dollar. This is Roy Rowan speaking.
And a classic Howard McNear character in that episode of Yours Truly, Johnny Dollar, February 17th, 1956, here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thank this radio station and support their advertisers. It is their kindness and courtesy that allows us to be with you each and every time we roll around. If you have a moment, visit my webpage, classicradio.stream. That's classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows on demand, learn more about classic radio collecting, find our social media links, and even contact me directly, classicradio.stream. Our shows are available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, on the Amazon Music and Audible apps by searching for Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. That's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks for tuning in, and tell all your friends the great radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater on your favorite radio station.